So welcome back to the channel, and today I have a customer's broken PC. So this computer I built about a little less than a year ago. It's a Ryzen 7, I believe it's a 5700 with 16 gigs of DDR4, 3060 Ti, and I'm sure it has an M.2, maybe an SSD. I'd have to take a look at the build sheet. And one thing I do recommend is that if you're building computers, a lot of them, keep a build sheet of the computers that you build. It kind of helps cover you. But moving on, the customer's complaint is that he was doing a Windows update, and while updating Windows, the computer froze on him. It wouldn't do nothing. He shut it down. He went to restart the computer, and now it won't boot into Windows. And it's interesting because I've had this happen twice this month. I've had two other computers that came in with same issue, same symptom, but on those, one of them was a bad M.2 and another one was a bad stick of memory, which is, ouch, spicy considering the price of memory and storage lately. So hopefully that's not the case with this one, but I think it's pretty interesting that this is the third time I've had that complaint, a Windows update, and then the computer stops working. So let me know in the comments your experience on that. So in this video, we're gonna take a look, we're gonna dive into it. Maybe it's something simple as a BIOS reset, because that's the other thing I've seen a lot lately. A BIOS reset seems to fix things a lot lately. Hopefully it's not hardware related or anything expensive. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So first things first, visual inspection. And I like to take a quick visual of the outside. Number one, spill action. And number two, I've seen this animal urine. I've seen this where dogs and cats have relieved themselves on the PC, or better yet, sometimes customers tend to spill drinks, you know, a fancy beverage, soda pop, juice, even water. I don't see any obvious evidence of that. And also with the smell test, I don't smell it. But I also want to take a look at the USB ports, because a lot of the times I've seen this, people take out the USB, they rip them out, they break, and then the pins inside tend to kind of get stuck together, and that could cause the computer not to turn on, boot loop, or you get that USB overload protection error. So let's take a look at that first. And the ones up here look fine. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at the back. These look fine, but I already see something that shows me concern, and I don't know how well you can see it. Let's zoom you in. Do you see a problem? Do you see the problem? Yeah, that's not supposed to do that. That looks like, yeah, so not quite sure what's going on there. I do know when I built this computer almost a year ago, and this is outside that warranty that I'll cover, I did not do that, and I made sure it had all the screws. But outside of that, the USBs, display port, everything else looks good. And the other red flag, this. When I build computers, I always put in a slot. Even if they don't match, I do put them in there. Just, that's something I like to do. Looks a lot better, but I do remember having a slot down here. So not sure what happened there. And I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do next is let's just open this up. I do wanna fire it up, verify the customer's complaint first, but it might be an issue that this motherboard is not sitting properly for whatever reason, and it might just be shorting itself out. Hopefully there's no damage, but that's definitely a red flag. And right off the back, taking a look at it, I mean, I don't see anything obviously wrong. Interesting. Let's see if I can get you in with the camera. You see that right there? That's the USB header, and that's unplugged. And I'm very confident that when I built this computer that was plugged in. So it looks like this computer has been messed with. Maybe they try to upgrade something. I don't see anything different outside of what I've built, but why that's unplugged, I'm not sure. Why are we missing screws here and here? Definitely not sure, but potentially an issue that the customer created. So it's actually been 20 minutes. I just got off the phone with the customer and I let them know my observations. First things first, that we're missing the screws, the USB thing, and I told them, hey, what did you do to it? They were reluctant to share the information, and I told them, I said, it's a lot easier for me to diagnose this if I know what you did to the computer. And in a nutshell, when this happened, they tried diagnosing the computer themselves, and I wish they would have told me that. It's okay. They said they tried taking out the motherboard and they lost some of the screws and they couldn't get that connector plugged in. So there's still a chance that this issue was created prior to them tinkering with it. But then again, if they haven't been totally truthful with me initially, how do I know they're telling me the truth now? But either way, I'm hired to fix this issue. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at the back. Back here, 2 terabyte SSD. The cable management. I mean, I definitely had it a lot cleaner, and it's missing my wire tie here and here because I do remember that. So other than that, nothing looks terrible. So what I think I'm going to do is, normally I want to verify the customer's complaint, but considering this thing is not sitting, I mean, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put the screw in just for peace of mind. I'd hate for this thing to get moved or jiggle in a fashion that could potentially create a short. Always verify the customer complaint first, but then again, this could be the problem. And this is not the right screw, so let's find the right one. I mean, could this be as simple as just a loose screw? They said they lost the screws and they took this apart, but I don't know. I do got one up there, so let's find another one. All right, a lot better. Make sure this one is tight. That was a little loose. And we're missing one right over there. So, I mean, like what in the world? All right, I feel a little better with that. So let's go ahead and get some power, some video, keyboard, mouse. And if you're wondering about the sirens, that's the great thing about living behind a main road. All right, let's fire it up. Of course. Round 2, let's try it again. Fire it up. Well, this just got interesting. Nothing. I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do, and folks, I just found something else. This is not plugged in all the way, so, oh boy. So my plan of attack, not sure. So we'll improvise as we go. I think I'm gonna take out the graphics card first, because this thing just takes up so much real estate, and that way I could kind of see the pins and connectors, and maybe the power button's unplugged. So let's start there. All right, unplug this, unplug that, unplug you. You're almost unplugged. Let's take this out right over here. And I just noticed we're missing a screw for the graphics card. One right up there. I mean, geez, come on. Now, I love this case, the Fractal Meshify C, but man, oh man, is it tight. And for those of you that are getting triggered by this, yes, I did build a computer with an ATX case and an MATX motherboard. There's nothing wrong with it. If it works, it works. If it gets the job done and saves you a couple of dollars, why not? And I just threw my screws all over the place, so that's good too. And let's see if we can figure this out together. So first things first, like I said, this thing is not plugged in for whatever reason. Is this like one of those solid headers? Nope. And I should have paid attention to that, but that's cool. Now the power switch one should be right over here. See if we get any power. Didn't expect that. So now what I think I'm gonna do, for the sake of ease and convenience, and mostly because this 3060 Ti takes up a lot of real estate, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop in my trusted and faithful, the best graphics card in the world, my GT 1030. Why? Because it's small. Also why? Because you don't need power for it. And the thing I'm just trying to do is just see if I get a post. All right, flick this thing on, hit the power button, bingo. Now, I'm just gonna go to see if it boots into Windows, which it looks like it's doing it. It sure is taking a minute or two to do that. So it's been 5 minutes and we're stuck here. So I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just kind of clean up this computer, plug everything in, try to put it back together and see if it gets stuck here. Maybe it's just because it doesn't have the original graphics card, but I'm gonna start there. Then we'll work on resetting the BIOS, and we just might have to do a fresh install of Windows, which I did talk to the customer about that, and they're completely fine with me doing a fresh copy of Windows. So let's go ahead and let's kind of clean this thing up. All right, so I gotta take this motherboard out. And you're probably saying, why? Well, customer bent the pins, and I won't be able to show you this until I take it out, but the pins to the header for the USB 3.0 are bent. It's common, I've made that mistake, but that is an issue that the customer created. And diving deeper and talking to the customer, speaking to them again off camera, they informed me that when this happened, they thought it was a great idea to take the computer apart and try to fix it themselves, which more power to them. I mean, that's how you learn, but if you're not sure what you're doing, you can create more problems. I might be able to fix that header and align those pins. I might not. Maybe one of the pins snapped, or maybe one of the pins are bridging, which is causing an issue, but apparently the issue had happened first and then they tried to fix it themselves, which explains why we were missing all these screws. And the reason why it didn't turn on was because they took everything out and they just didn't put the power button and all that stuff in properly, which I didn't check that. I thought it was one of those solid block connectors. So, but at least I have direction. They finally came clean and they're definitely getting the bill for this. Holy crap, Biscuit Batman. Look at what they did. I mean, we got pins that are touching and that's pretty bad. Folks, check, be careful. If it don't fit, you know, nice and easy, nice and slow. But anyways, all right, so we got to start there first. So what I went ahead and did was cut the wire tie that was holding this. That way I had extra length to kind of use this to help align it in place. So the way I typically do this with bent pins is I get them close enough, and I'll zoom you in. So these were all squiggly and all over the place and pretty much a disaster. And what I went ahead and did was just kind of lined them up as uniformly as I can using a small flathead screwdriver. And then I'll take the connector and just little by little, I mean, you just don't want to jam it straight forward in, because what's going to happen is that if one is out of alignment, it could bend it, push it. You take a really high risk of breaking it. But what I'll try to do is I'll just get one little area, and as soon as that starts clicking in, I'll do the other area kind of like this, same thing. And then just as I'm able to get both outside ends lined up, I'll just kind of wiggle slowly. And as soon as I feel resistance, I'll just kind of pull it out and then just realign the pins as I need to kind of make sure that they look uniformed, just like they are now. And just adjust little by little. And then just very lightly, just nice and easy, just starting from one end, back and forth, other end, and just wiggle it until it pops in just like that. So that's cool, that's fixed. And the reason why I decided to go down that route and fix that first is because these pins were touching. And if these pins are touching, then you could run into an issue with a short. Something might not work right, create other issues, and maybe that's what's creating the issue. Who knows? My theory is that the customer tinkered with their computer before the problem and created the problem. Who knows? Honesty goes a long way. But then again, if they pay, hey, I don't care what they did. I get paid. Everything is secure. Everything's plugged in properly. Let's fire it up. Let's see if it boots into Windows. If it doesn't, then I think we'll just do a quick BIOS reset, see if that does it. And if not, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a fresh copy of Windows. They did say, yeah, go ahead and wipe it. I try not to wipe the computers if I don't have to. But in this case, considering that they're adamant about that, maybe they got a bug, maybe they got a virus, maybe the computer's running slow. I don't know. So let's flip the switch hit the power button. Will we, do we get a post? Yes. And we're still stuck with the same issue. It's just stuck right there. It's been 5 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna reset the BIOS. So forgot to hit the record button, but in a nutshell, I reset the BIOS. So now we're gonna boot, see if it boots into Windows. Now, can we get into Windows? And it's been 5 minutes and we're stuck right here. So I reached out to the customer. I gave him the option. Do you want me to try to diagnose it? Do you have anything in there? And he actually requested a fresh copy of Windows install. So that makes life a lot easier. I'm good with that. This saves a lot of time. So let's install a fresh copy of Windows. Fresh copy of Windows 11 installed, no issues. We're running the updates. I did run an AIDA64 test and a Cinebench. Computer solid, doesn't crash. And what makes this a lot easier is that the customer wanted a fresh copy of Windows. So didn't really have to dive into it too deep. As far as what happened, I'm not sure what the customer did or did not do. Who knows? But we'll talk about that in just a sec. But for the most part, computer's back up and running, everything's good. And the best part, no parts required. So what actually happened to this computer? I'm not 100% sure. The initial story was that they were doing an update and the computer crashed. But then as you saw, we dove in, there was a lot of inconsistencies. The motherboard was missing screws. And then when we tried to turn it on, we couldn't because the pins for the power button, all that type of stuff was in the wrong position. And then when I took a deeper look, we saw that the USB 3.0, all those pins were kind of smashed together. So did the customer create the issue before or after? Did they try to fix it themselves? My thoughts, and hear me out, and this is where you got to know your customers. This computer, every time I get it from the customer, it's usually dusty and crusty. It's actually pretty clean. I think they tried to clean it themselves, put it back together, and then it just wouldn't work. I think they took it apart again to try to see what they did wrong. That's when they bent the pins, or maybe they bent those pins putting it back together the first time. Not 100% sure, but I think they created the issue. Maybe they got confused. They claim it was broken before, but I'm not getting the whole story. All that matter is that they're paying me for it. It's fine, it is what it is. And folks, I encourage people, don't be afraid to tinker around with your computer. Watch some videos, learn, get a little knowledge, ask some questions, and it can save you a lot of money. The fortunate thing is that no parts required. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. What do you think was wrong with this computer? And why do you think the customer was not being completely honest? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.